Hello, I am Jake Zukowski. I am a certified OOUX strategist here to guide you through your Cohort 11 OOUX Masterclass. And instead of just sending you an email with all of the details and information, I of course decided to be extra and did a whole kickoff deck with an asynchronous video. I think it'll get you a little bit more familiar with my personality and what you're in store for. Hopefully it's not too much. Sometimes I can be a little bit like a hat on a hat. Anyways, welcome. And it's so good to see you here. I'm very happy to be part of your journey of learning. Let's get into it. One thing you should know about me is that I love games. I have invented many games. I love creating fun stuff. My husband complains that I turn everything into a game. So before we get into the content of me welcoming you, we're going to play a little bit of a game. And this game is called What's That Icon? Very easy game. I'm going to give you an icon that I got from the Noun Project. And your job is to spend a couple moments and figure out what this icon represents. There's 4 of them, so we're going to go through them relatively quickly. But if you need to take a moment to think, feel free to pause the video. So here's number 1. Number 2. This one is number 3. And finally, and I will say it's my favorite, number 4. All right. Hopefully you have your answers. When I play tested this game with my husband, I got to that intro slide and he's like, rocket, I know that one. And I was like, oh yeah, that's just an illustration. Yes, indeed. If you got this one right, rocket, good for you. But we're doing the other 4. So here they are all up, and hopefully you have your answers in your mind. First one, it's a little bit of an English idiom. So if English is not your first language, I completely understand if you didn't get this. It is supposed to represent rat race or the rat race. And if you aren't familiar with the idiom, this is around working until you die. Kind of like going on a treadmill and running and running and running. The rat race, as we would say. Number 2, I thought it was a little bit easier, but my husband had a hard time with this one. This one is mining. I think specifically it's crypto mining. Number 3, lower left-hand corner. I think this one is incredibly difficult. There's no way I would get this. Darkness. How the heck are you supposed to get that from all of that? And number 4, did you get it? Let's see. Butthurt. And I love that somebody made an icon for butthurt. Like, what are you going to use this icon? Now, the thing here is, of course, with every game that I create, it's not just a game. Of course, it's a learning opportunity because that's the kind of guy that I am. So when I look at these 4, to me, the easiest one to get, because I speak English as a native language and I know the idiom, was rat race in the upper left-hand corner. The hardest for me, I suspect, was darkness, the lower left corner. And while I could understand, I didn't think it was crypto mining. I thought it was a mine. And the reason I brought these up is because the first thing up there is a noun, a rat race. Like, that is a noun describing a thing. A mine is also a noun that describes a thing. Darkness is an adjective. Butthurt, I guess, is an adjective as well. And the point here is that nouns are easy, and it's verbs and it's adjectives that are hard. And this is really the fundamentals of what you're going to learn through the course entirely, but specifically when you get into object discovery here in the first week of the masterclass. So hopefully you can understand that we take away this idea that nouns are inherent to how we structure the world. We think in nouns, we identify nouns. It's called the Noun Project. It's very much not called the Verb Project for a reason. All right, a little bit of a preview for your first week. Let's get into actually who I am and what I'm here to do. So like I said, I am Jake. I used to be the Global Vice President of Design and Research at HelloFresh. Was really happy in doing that that role because it allowed me to build out a team and really understand and get a point of view about what mentorship looks like and what coaching looks like, and not just thinking about people in terms of careers or outputs, but thinking about them as integrated human beings that have dreams and goals, and how I can be the enabler of those dreams and goals. And I think that really sets up my mentorship style. So what am I going to be mentoring you on? So certainly you're going to have assignments and I will be grading your assignments. But for the most part, while that might be 80% of my job, it's not where 80% of my passion lies. 80% of my passion lies in the next two things. I am here to coach OOUX mindsets. That means that I want to focus our conversations, whether they are within the context of assignments or bigger conversations, around how you want to transform. And so when I see you in the forum and I see you in office hours, and hopefully we have really brilliant one-on-one conversations with one another, really what I'm trying to do is coach you towards your personal and professional goals that you want to achieve through this coursework. You're spending a lot of money on this. You're spending a lot of time on this. I want to see and coach that transformation. And third, I want to empathize with your frustration. I took this coursework first as a self-paced masterclass student and ended up getting to about unit number 9, which is right around requirements, and fell off the train because I didn't feel like I was understanding what was going on. I didn't feel like how it would apply to my work. And therefore, I wasn't feeling like I was getting enough transformation out of it. I picked it back up again, and I'm very thankful that I did so, especially within the masterclass, because it helped me to give me the confidence to move past working at HelloFresh or working at a consultancy and do my own thing. And I just want you to know that I remember how frustrating it felt when I wasn't getting something. And that past Jake is also something I'm going to bring to our conversation. I want to make sure that I am empathizing with your frustration and not just trying to get you to the correct answer. All growth happens outside of the comfort zone. And I want you to remember that, because if you're not feeling comfortable, it can give you a moment to step back and say, okay, I know that I'm not feeling comfortable right now. I know that I'm super unsure. Maybe I am learning something here. And when you come out of that struggle, I think that you will become a different person, and a person for the better, if I know anything about how OOUX transforms people. Now, it's great and all that all growth happens outside of the comfort zone, but I want you to feel uncomfortable, and that tells me it's working, but I don't ever want you to feel despair. So how do I deal with problems to make sure that I understand the balance between these two things? Well, I like to take the thing that I learned from some of my best teachers, which is that if a problem is being offered, I want to make sure that I evaluate the problem correctly and give you what you need in order to succeed. That could be very direct help. This is, you need a very concrete, practical answer from me. And certainly that is something that I can provide. But in addition to that, also something I might be providing you is for you to be heard. This is the social conversation, not the practical conversation. Maybe you're feeling like you are falling behind in the cohort, or that you just aren't made for this kind of thing. You are comparing yourself to your peers. And in this case, it's not really about direct help, but rather about a social conversation that I understand where you're at, and I know how frustrating it can be. And we can also get you the virtual hug that you need to move from the social conversation to the emotional of support and empathy. And so I might directly ask you sometimes about what you need. I might try to infer it instead. Just know that I'm interested in coaching you towards a transformation, and all three of these things are going to be in play. Because while this course likes to say that I'm a mentor, I don't think of myself as a mentor. I think of myself as a transformer. I'm here to facilitate and coach you through your transformation. What you look and act like a year from now should be completely different than you are today. So the first thing I want you to think about, if you haven't thought about it already, is how do you want to transform? What are your hopes, dreams, or expectations about where you're going to be a year from now? You go from this state to that state. And if you can help me to draw the line between where you're at today and where you want to be tomorrow, I can walk with you hand in hand down that journey. Now, there are several ways that we can do this. One of the most important ways is mentor one-on-ones, or what I'm calling the transformation session object. Let's do a little bit of definition about what this thing is. The transformation session object is the junction object between a cohort mentor and a cohort student, between me and you. And this is where we have a one-on-one. We want to make sure that we are keeping in mind where you want to go and talking either very practically about the kind of concrete help you need, the social help you need, or the emotional help that you might need in order to get there. This is an object definition guide, which you'll learn more about in this course. I'm kind of exposing it to you now about one object that you and I will be sharing together. This object has cardinality, or a number of instances in its relationship. So each student is entitled to 3 of these transformation session objects, but it is up to the mentor whether they would like to go past that. And for folks that are really interested in pushing this transformation angle, I am here for it because it's where I draw the most passion and I get the most excitement from my work. Now, the typical number of instances for this transformation session object, like I said, is 3 per mentor and student, but it is shockingly low. Very few students are utilizing their mentors enough to even get 3 out of there. I remember when I was doing the course, I felt like it was a lot for me to use my mentor's time, because I didn't realize that while I had the courage to do my transformation, it was the coaching that made it stick. And I just want to reinforce with you all that the coaching part of this is so important. So if you feel like you are stuck, or even if you don't feel like you're stuck, if you feel like you want to push further, I'm here for that. I'm here for whatever conversation you want to have. More details about how to schedule all of those and maybe the right cadence for those things, depending on like how I know how the coursework goes. We'll talk about that later. Okay, I am super excited that you are going on this journey. I'm excited to be here for it and to help you along on this journey. If you have any questions at all, you can reach out to me in email, on the forum, maybe even text message if you feel comfortable that way. Let me know. You'll see more from me in the coming days and weeks. Until then, be well, take care, and happy OUXing.